ফিরে এলাম ছোট্ট বিরতির পরে। আমরা জানবো মিস্টার দিলের কাছে থেকে আমাদের যে সমস্ত রিয়েল এস্টেট রিলেটেড বর্তমান সিচুয়েশনের যে সমস্ত জিজ্ঞাসা আছে। সো প্যান্ডেমিকে আপনার কি মনে হয় যে প্যান্ডেমিক টাইমে যে ইন্টারেস্ট রেটটা ডিক্রিজ হয়েছিল, দ্যাট ইজ অলসো এ রিজন ফর দিস বুম?
Interest rate decrease হয়েছে ভাইয়া, I'll be very honest with you. Interest rate decrease হয়েছে at the end of the day, it was there since 2008. We had the biggest recession happen in 2008 in my life. So in my opinion, 1980 is when I was born. Of course, I was a little guy, I don't know anything. But interest rate at that point was 21%. So if you really look at the graph, what was the interest rate back then? And what are the house price back then?
But yeah, that is the factor to consider, that the house price was lower at that time.
But again, আপনার payment ছিল $3,000 for a $200,000 property. আপনি pay করতেছেন 21%.
Is that?
That is correct,
This
and
is
I have
new
the chart.
information to me.
I'll provide you the chart. So 1980 to 1990, we actually lived through an era which আমি ছিলাম এরকম, so I have no clue. I'm just telling you based on the stats. ধরেন, people literally gave the keys to the bank manager. I can no longer afford. Here's my key. $200,000 mortgage. ওরা pay করতেছে $2,200, $2,500, $3,500 mortgage.
At that
point.
1990.
1980 to 1990. That is huge. So let's not forget about what baby boomers went through, because that was the baby boomers. Baby boomers at that point, think about it. World War II happened, a lot of babies happened. Those babies grew, and they got an age where they're 25 to 30. That's when they're really sort of life cycle. Get married, have kids. You need you need your shelter, so you start buying properties. But even both income, husband and a wife, it was very hard for a lot of people, or going foreclosure and power of sale at that point. Now, going back to your question, interest rate, 2008. So let me go back to the 2008. 2008, we had the biggest recession in my lifetime. The banking in US got bankrupt, and our entire auto sector was completely disaster, in a sense where they had to take extra, government had to support them, put a different plan to make sure that they don't lay off all those sorts of employees. So here's the thing. If you look at all those variables, 2008 was when the recession happened, and then we tried to recover, but we never did. And here's what happened. We got used to in 1 decade of low interest rate. And our interest rate from that point, it was sitting at, I believe, 7.25%, prime rate I'm talking about. It came back all the way to less than 1 or 1.5 or something.
Right.
We lived through that era for 12 years. So let me ask you this question. আপনি যদি buy করেন, you don't know anything about 2008. You bought something, you're a new immigrant to this country. ধরো বাংলাদেশ থেকে আসছেন, settle করছেন, you buy something. You don't know about this economy factor, what happened. For example, 2015, let's say 2016, you bought something. Interest rate is around 2%. You don't know what happened in 2008.
Right.
You don't know.
No.
At that point, we are still paying 4% rate of interest for a mortgage, 3.85 to 4.
Right.
That is the normal healthy rate. বুঝতে পারতেছেন? That is a normal healthy rate. But we got spoiled by having low interest rate, due to interest rate. Now, the government had a plan before the pandemic started. They had a plan to start raising the interest rate. But pandemic happened, things went even sour.
Mr. Deal, আমার এই জায়গাটা প্রশ্ন হলো যে you are telling that we are habituated with the lower interest
Yes,
rate.
we did.
At the same time, we have to consider that the house price is at least twice or 3 times than what was 10 years or 20 years back. So to reconcile both, it would be very difficult. That's the situation.
Absolutely, and thank you for that question. It is absolutely true. ধরেন 2008 আপনি buy করতেন একটা bungalow in Scarborough for $400,000, $395, let's just say this.
Right.
Today, same bungalow is going for, during the pandemic, it was going for as much as high as 1.4 million.
Right.
But now, let's say around $1 million. Now, also, that's significantly due to interest rate, of course, because the cost of borrowing is very low. Yeah. Those who fixed it, of course, they bingo for them, because you guys are lucky. Those who did not fix it on a variable, depending on which bank you're at, you're definitely dishing out a lot more payment every month. And it's tough though, of course it's tough. If you're working 9 to 5 or even having 2 or 3 jobs just to make your dues, it's not easy.
Right, Mr. Deal, আমার প্রশ্ন আপনার কাছে আমি জানতে চাইবো যেটা সেটা হলো যে in pandemic it was very high. Now, what the factors, underlying factors, that last few months we are seeing this downtrend of the real estate market?
Well, first of all, I think I kind of touched base on what happened during the pandemic, why the surge happened. Low inventory, more demand, people want more spaces. Now that it started going down, first of all, to March of this year, really signal was that we're going to start raising interest rate. And that started happening. That where really things started shaking down. Now, as far as the appreciation of the property, it pretty much doubled between pandemic. So ধরেন আপনার একটা house ছিল 600,000 during the pandemic in certain pockets. I'm not saying everywhere, guys, so don't take me in, but I'm talking about the GTA and generally. It definitely appreciated by 50% of what you bought it for. So ধরেন আমি একটা বাংলো কিনছি Scarboroughতে 500,000. Back in 2017, I was able to sell it for 1.2. Now, I bought something in 2018 for exact same property, exact same price. I was able to sell it for 1.2 because that was low-cost borrowing. You were able to buy something, afford something that in reality, you can't afford that. But because of the due to low interest rate, you are able to. So interest rate hike, definitely it impacted and kept on increasing for last few times. And that definitely put a dent in the industry itself. Impact in terms of cost of borrowing, whether you have a variable mortgage or secured line of credit, your payments gone higher. And a lot of people are thinking that there is a crash.
But what do you think?
A lot of people, I don't think there's a crash, but I do think there's a significant correction. Now you're gonna tell me what is crash versus significant, correction.
Please. Yeah,
so
yeah,
let me explain. Crash hobe in a sense where we didn't have structure in the banking sector in terms of banks doing their due diligence to qualify for mortgage. You may or may not like the government policy right now where we have a stress test, but it actually did a favor because everything that you're getting approved based on the stress test. Roughly about 8%, you're getting approved based on 8% interest rate.
Yes, almost.
Almost, that's right. So that 8% does not qualify for 1.4 million anymore. You know what it qualifies you? 700,000. So more and more when the sellers out there who are owners and they actually have to move, either they bought something pre-construction or life being divorced, whatever is happening in their well-being, or apna move kortei hobe, then they are selling it and they're desperate to sell and they will sell it for what the current market price is. For example, last week I bought something in Scarborough. Seller wanted 1.15. I bought it for 1,017,000. Guess what? Bank appraised it for 1.1 close to. So motivation from the seller side, motivation from the buyer side, and making sure the real estate agent that apne je kaaj kortechen, they are honest and 100% true to themselves and making sure that they're looking at your pocket first, your interest first. So this is the problem in Bengali community, and I'm not going to bash any Bengali realtors here. Honestly, I don't have a lot of Bengali clients, but I'll just say this, I want to say this because I'm pretty sure a lot of new immigrants are watching this. And please, forgive me if I say this in a very inaccurate way. Majority Bengali agents are not educated in terms of market-wise. They don't look at market, they don't look at newspapers, they don't actually hear the podcast, they don't even attend any of those seminars. So they're not knowledgeable. What they are is, okay, mama, papa, I know this uncle who is a realtor. Mama, papa, I know this auntie who's a realtor. Go with them. Here's the fundamental problem. Mama, papa, you go with that realtor. They show you 2 houses. Okay, uncle, let's sign right now. No. Have you done your due diligence on this house? Have you done the due diligence on the applicant itself, whether they can qualify for the mortgage? That's a big problem with our community.
Mr. Dale, my question to you at this point, that the interest rate hiked exponentially in last few months.
Yep.
Since you told me probably from March.
Yep.
And another hike we are expecting in
December.
December.
Yes, 7th. Yep.
Right. So do you think that this is the only factor that the market is correcting or market is slow at this point?
No, it's not the only factor. I also touched base earlier. Thank you for the question, first of all. I touched base earlier. You got inflation is the biggest problem. Besides that, you have panic sellers. We had panic buyers in pandemic time, where people thought, you as an immigrant, I as a buyer, thought, oh my God, if I don't buy today, I will never buy something in Toronto. And that was the sort of conversation we are having and realtors having with their clients. And clients are like, realtors telling them, hey, আপনি যদি আজকে না buy করেন, you can never buy something in Toronto. And that's a fear that your realtor put in your head. And that's the consequence of what we are today. If you made a right judgment call, you would have waited, in my opinion. But going back to your question again, interest rate is not the only factor. Other factors are, we are having inflation issue, we are having supply chain issue. All those making our interest rate is high, which definitely predominantly having an impact on the real estate itself. But having said that, our price was I'm going to go back again. Our price was high. In my opinion, every single property in Toronto, specifically in Toronto, was probably about $300,000 loss they will have at the bare minimum. At the bare minimum.
That is your prediction.
That's my prediction. Every single, if you haven't taken a 30% hit yet, you're going to hit, you probably already at 20% hit, I'm pretty sure. And for next 2 months to 3 months, you're going to get another 10% hit, 5 to 10.
That being said, that you are predicting another 10% decrease in next few months.
Yeah, and again, pocket by pocket.
Pocket by pocket, okay, got
Please
it.
know
Now,
this, pocket by pocket.
Understood. Mr. Deal, apart from this real estate questions, because you are telling about knowledge of the realtors is very important and they should keep themselves, in fact, up to date.
Oh, yeah.
So in that case, how do you stay current and what additional providers should you have access to?
Well, first of all, if you're working with a realtor, you need to ask questions to your real estate agent. And one simple question, it is, what sort of, and if you're a seller, that would be something that I would do, what sort of marketing strategy do you have put in place to sell my house? What's your brand like? What do you look like on social media? Let's face it, আপনি দেখুন একটা MLS এ বসান, just the property itself, it's not going to sell because the demand is not there. ধরেন আপনি একজন buyer, your realtor has to really figure it out why this house is good for you. Do the due diligence. So first thing first is actually have to make sure that you are up to date or knowledgeable in the area that you are expert. It's important. আমি যদি এখন লন্ডনের realtor না হই, how could I actually tell you about London? If I'm not a Peterborough real estate agent, how can I tell you every second where is the new apartment coming, subsidized building coming, where is the park coming, where is this, which could impact the property that I'm buying?
Right.
So if you're going to work with someone local and you're buying something in Scarborough, Toronto, wherever else it is, work with somebody who's knowledgeable and they know the market. Do me a favor, or that if they don't have a Google review, first and foremost, take them off from your list. Doesn't matter if they're auntie or uncle. Please do yourself a favor. Because here's the thing, আপনারা buy করতেছেন, it's not a loonies and toonies you're talking about. We are talking about thousands of thousands of dollars. We're talking about 500, 800, 700, 1.5, $2 million property. You need a reputable realtor. You need someone who's knowledgeable. You need someone who knows how to negotiate. You need someone who knows how to negotiate their own salary with you. And you need, above all, you need somebody who can look after your interest first.
Thank you very much. আমরা এই জায়গাটায় আসবো। আমরা যাচ্ছি একটা ছোট বিরতিতে, ফিরে এসে আবারও জানবো মিস্টার দিলের কাছে থেকে